been doing this? You have. All right. Sounds good. I would prefer you open your eyes and look at me. No. It doesn't actually.
Eyes closed like mine.
Okay. So, am I going to wear? I could actually wear a gown with this, couldn't I? If I thought there was some kind of soiling and splashing. And in general, I'm not, but I could do. Tell you what, Mr. James, what I'm going to do is cover you with a bath blanket. See this kind of thing? This fuzzy cottony thing? These may actually be stored in what's called a blanket warmer that keeps them up to body temperature so they don't feel cold. And so what I'm going to do is spread out my bath blanket on my patient so that I can remove this one. These are always folded wrong in this skills lab because the computer technician isn't a nurse. But this is kind of like that thing where you pull the cloth out from under the tablecloth out from under the dishes. You tell him to hang on to that. All right. So notice how I have him covered up and warm. No part of his body is unnecessarily exposed. It's not that I rip his clothes off and he's lying there naked for the whole world to see. And I could sit him up, and his hips aren't bending where the bed is bending, so it doesn't look like he's going to be that comfortable when we do this. And then what I could have my warm water and my washcloth. And remember, what was one of the topics we talked about this morning? Maybe I will borrow a washcloth. Namiko, do you want to grab one of those smaller ones? Let's pretend this is a washcloth there. Oh, here, I'll do it like this. Okay. The official way to hold a washcloth. Thank you. Am I going to come around and check that you're all doing this? No, but the more sensible way would have been that we had bath mitts, to be honest with you. Because if you were to hold a washcloth like this, you're always going to have some damp and cold, flippy corner touching someone. So what we actually kind of do is make a bath mitt out of our hands. Does that make sense? And it gives you just more control over it. And I am that I'm teaching it just like I actually really do. I actually really do that. I am that. So I could get water on it and so on. And I could begin by, and I'm washing because of body mechanics, I'm leaning over, I'm hurting myself like that. I'm washing the part that's underneath. I had to pick Mr. James. So remember on the eye, it's inside out. All right. So I could be washing and around his ears and so on and so forth. And rinse, all right? And we don't rub people dry, okay? We pat them dry, okay? Because we don't want to have friction and shear. Okay. The better thing would have been to say, Mr. James, I'm going to help you, right? Because I want my patient to wash and see if he could actually wash his hands and face and so on and so forth himself. Our guy has oxygen on, so that's an issue. Let's say now I'm going to wash his upper extremity. I only want to expose the part of his body that I'll be working on. So I'm going to work on him like in a quarter like this, a quarter of his body in a sense. And I actually just put my towel right under his arm so that it's ready to go because I don't want him feeling cold. Because have you ever... stand in your bathroom with just a washcloth and try to wash your body. And the first thing you're going to notice is you get really cold when the air is hitting you. It's like getting out of a swimming pool, right? When the temperature is different. The principle for washing extremities would be that I want to wash from distal to proximal because I'm trying to encourage venous return. Right? But I'm not doing it so hard that I'm like, I'm not like this sequential compression device kind of thing, all right? But I could be, washing my guy, and this would be, he doesn't move at all, but this would be a good time to do my range of motion as a part of this because he's warm and so on. So I could be, doing my 10 movements and all that kind of stuff. Can you lift your arm up? Can you come out over here? This would be the perfect time for me to do all of that. I want to make sure that anywhere where skin touches skin, such as in the axilla and so on, that I give particular attention to that. I know that's where, due to moisture and so on, that yeast could form. All right, people get infections there. So I would wash. I don't put soap on people's face, by the way, but I would wash. All right, rinse, and it goes down just like this at the hospital. And now I just pat him dry so he's warm. Okay, and do it.
Is it blow dryer?
No, there aren't any blow dryers, and I don't know that that would feel comfortable either. So on. And now I'm going to wash his upper chest. All right. Okay. And rinse. And maybe he could have done this. Some people, what I can do is take the gown off both their arms so that they're just exposed down to their waist, and you can sit them up, and you can put this around in front of them, and they can wash their hands and face and underarms and themselves down to their waist. It's a little harder for them to effectively wash their perianal area, and of course they can't wash their back, their bottom, and their feet and so on. But if he could have done that, I would have loved that. For his sake, if he was a woman and he had pendulous breasts and I had tissue on tissue, skin on skin, then I'd be concerned about that. So you actually have to lift up and move their breasts out of the way to be able to wash and dry and rinse them off. Now, I want to keep him warm, so yeah.
Is that supposed to be disposable? Like you clean one arm, throw it out, and then or just...
You do take a series of washcloths into the room, and you take a dirty linen hamper with you to be able to put them in, so you're not putting a dirty wet washcloth here or on the floor or on the bed and so on. But they're not. We don't throw them away. No, they go to the laundry and are washed and so on.
How about the water?
I change the water after I've done his upper body. Down to his perineum. I'm going to wash his perineum, change the water, do his legs, and then do his feet. But anytime you wash their perineum and their feet, you don't want to reuse that water on any other part of their body. So notice he's still got his old dirty gown on that side, but I'm putting the clean one on now. All right, because I need him and want him to be clean and warm and comfortable. So let's say I'm going to do his feet next. I tend to do perianal areas last. I don't know if there's a rule about that or if it's just the Jane deal. So I would actually, put his foot up, and this is when I could be trying to see if I could do his range of motion, and working with him like that to see if I can keep him moving and so he's not developing any kind of contractures. And so I put my towel there, and then how was that again that I was going to? Distal to proximal. So I'm going to wash, and I'm going to show you how to also get somebody up in a chair and set them in a chair with this in front of them so that they can wash themselves. And sometimes in those situations I actually put their feet in the tub and soak them. There's an instance where you can't soak people's feet though, and that's for people who are diabetics. People who are diabetic shouldn't have their feet soaking in water. It increases their chance of getting an infection. So I would not soak a diabetic's feet. So I could be washing him like this, and rinse and doing all of this. So I start out with the water pretty warm because what's happening to the water is I'm doing this in the ambient air. And if I have those washcloths, I would be using one and throwing them away. So I could be drying my patient like this. Another thing that nurses sometimes do is, I'm going to put this right here so I can talk to you. Patient had left the room for an x-ray, and I thought, oh great, he's out of his bed. I'll put the clean sheets on now, and that way when he comes back, I'll have the clean sheets on. You could also use a bath blanket on top of the bed and bathe them on top of that, and then I'm going to show you how to change your bed. You would turn and remove the bath blanket, and then they'd be back down on their clean sheets. So now I would go to the other side of the bed, and I do the exact same thing. I'm going to wash this man's perianal area at this point, and with men, so with women it was front to back and so on. Sometimes with women it's easier to put them on a bedpan and to actually they have water bottles and so on, so you could actually put warm soapy water in there and sort of spray the area, and that can get people a lot cleaner and it's a lot easier sometimes to do that. And you could do that with men as well. And I think you can't reach somebody's anal area looking down in front of them for their anterior surface, or you turn them over on your side. But I need to wash their back, and I wanted to see them from excoriation and all that other kind of stuff.